So we have, as you can see here, we have a range of dispensing options available in the KX family. On the right side, you can see we have touch-free and manual formats, both available in different sizes, up to 750 ml and up to 1,250 ml, depending on the bottle size that goes into it. It is a very stylish and sleek and very aesthetically pleasing dispensing system that's ADA compliant in that it is less than 5 pounds force to operate when using the manual dispenser, and also in that it is less than 4 inches from the wall in terms of the size of the dispenser itself. So it's a very compact footprint that lends itself nicely to different areas where maybe space is tight. The system itself is very user-friendly and easy to use in that it's very quick and easy to exchange the bottles themselves. There is a button or keyed entry point at the top, so the system can either be made to be locking or non-locking. The button is used on the top to press the dispenser, the cover tilts open, and the bottle can easily be exchanged, removed, and reloaded that way. The dispensing system itself is compatible with the full lineup of OPHART 38mm pumps, which we'll talk about in a little bit more detail later on in the presentation. The applications are endless really for this dispensing system in terms of its suitability for different areas and environments, whether it's the healthcare area, public washrooms. It's robust enough to be used in very high traffic areas where it does get a lot of use, as well as office spaces, whether it's back of house, front of house, even in food processing facilities. So the range of sizes and formats that are available lend itself to a lot of flexibility and ease of use. And with some of the customization features that we'll show a little bit later, you can see how we can help drive use of the dispenser by taking advantage of some of these features. It is a cartridge system in that it uses a bottle and pump inside that is one-time use. So it's very hygienic in that sense. It does have a very secured lockout system available, which Ted will talk about in more detail a little bit later on. The bottles and pumps themselves are fully recyclable and made of HDP and LDP materials. So after they're emptied, they can be disposed of that way, and a new one can be used. And as I mentioned, they're very fast and easy to replace. The bottles can come in various formats, whether it's rigid or collapsing. We have pumps to accommodate both uses. So again, all those things lend to a very versatile and flexible system. The pumps themselves, as I mentioned, is a standard lineup of pumps available for all sorts of different formats and different formulations, from foam products to alpha foams, right through liquids and gels, and even heavy duty products and spray. You can see there that there's many different dosages available, from small right up to larger dosages of 2 ml. And the same dispenser can be used with any of these different pumps. So a dispenser that on day one is used for foaming products, down the road can be converted or can stay the same and be used with a refill that has a lotion or heavy duty pump on it without doing anything to the dispenser. It will accommodate all of these different pumps. They do include our latest and greatest intellectual property and technology, such as Clean Tip, which prevents any dripping of the pump after use. We have air blast technology included in some of these pumps as well, which basically means that they're self-cleaning and that all the product is dispensed out of the pump at the time of use and nothing is left in there to potentially, again, drip later on. And also, as mentioned, these are fully recyclable as well. No springs or metal bits in these components. In terms of the branding available with the dispensers, as I said, they can be made to be very aesthetically pleasing with all sorts of customization. There's a very large label area available at the front that can be completely printed with all kinds of colors and messaging and branding, of course. The bezel is the area around the perimeter of the dispenser face. That can be made to be any color and different colors snapped in place. As I mentioned, some bright colors even to really drive behavior and attract people to the dispenser to make sure it's used in those very important areas. A window space that is available as well, basically a transparent area that allows viewing of the product level in the bottle and when it does need to be exchanged for a new one. Yeah, and within that, a whole range of different color and design options to really make this an aesthetically pleasing line to match even the decor of the existing bathroom or maybe other potential devices that are already maybe hanging on the wall. This can be made to fit right in nicely. And to that effect, even if they are stainless steel, we do have a version available of the KX dispenser that is also stainless with all the features and benefits that you've come accustomed to with the OPHART product line, in that it's very easy to clean, very aesthetically pleasing, and nice design, smooth corners. Anti-fingerprint coating means that they don't look dirty after use. Very tamper-proof and secure, whether it's the manual or touch-free. And the benefit being the same refills and pumps can be used in either the plastic version or the stainless steel version, which lends itself to very nice simplicity and SKU reduction on the customer side. The KX dispensing system is available with a whole host of accessories and options, and we'll just highlight a few of them here. There's a drip tray available that matches the aesthetic of the dispenser very nicely and is very easily snapped in place. We have floor stands available for the touch-free version, which are very nice also and very robust, with a nice mounting wall plate that does allow for room above the dispenser for any messaging or branding that you'd like to place there. The dispensers are compatible with the OPHART Intelligent Solutions and the whole host of IoT options that Josh will talk about in a little more detail later on, as well as mounting brackets and other devices that allow the dispenser to be mounted at the point of care where they're needed most, whether that's a bedside in a hospital room or on a cart, a trolley that may make its way through the hallways of a hospital. We have many different options available to make sure that that dispenser can be mounted in the right place securely so that it can be used as often as needed and is available when needed most. I mentioned the hospital and medical setting. The dispenser uses a very quiet drive technology, which means that even if it's installed very close to a patient bedside, a touch-free dispenser runs very quietly, not to disturb any patients or be seen as a disturbance in that way when it's used. So all the latest and greatest technology has been built into this dispenser, and I'm happy to pass the presentation over now to Ted to talk about some more of the technical details involved with the KX dispenser platform.
Great, thanks, Fred.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I'll just go through some of the technical details of the KX dispenser. First, I'd like to talk about the lockout options we have for this dispenser. So on the bottle and dispenser, we have some corresponding features, and you'll see them on the bottle just below the threaded section of the neck. So these features interact with corresponding features in the dispenser to allow us to have a variety of unique bottles for dispensers. So this ensures that any customer with an assigned notch won't have any conflicts with other customers. They won't be able to, competitors won't be able to install their bottles in your dispensers. So this gives us some good security. And in addition to this, we have a patent on the umbrella engagement of the pump on the left. So only OPHART can supply pumps that get installed into these bottles that work in these dispensers. So this gives you good protection for your for the dispenser investment on the wall to ensure that only your product goes in there. Our platforms have a host of technologies in them. So this is the touchless platform we're showing. So we have an LED indicator. It identifies when the dispenser is being used. It will also give you a red flash when the batteries are getting low. We make sure the low battery indicator comes on early enough that there's enough battery life left for at least one full refill. So if you get to a dispenser and see the low battery, you can install a new refill and then get back to it within that refill to replace the batteries. The battery life is up to 80,000 activations with D-cell batteries, 50,000 activations with C-cell batteries, and a life of about 3 years. And really it depends on, it's a combination of how many activations and how many years the dispenser has been on the wall for the exact battery life. Optionally, we have a a 1, 2, 3 dosing switch. So we can select how many activations are provided to the user each time they put their hand under the dispenser to get an activation. This lets us make sure we get the right dose depending on the pump selected and the number of activations, so we can get the right dose into the user's hands. And optionally, as Fred mentioned, there's a quiet drive. So we have our standard drive, and then we have our quiet drive, which gives us an 8 decibel quieter drive. So this is ideal for locations where the sound level is very important, as Fred mentioned. So in addition to the standard product of the KX dispenser, we can also use the platforms to develop an OEM dispenser. So here we see the platform over on the right behind the bottle. So this platform contains the bulk of the technology within the KX dispenser. So it has the drive, like the electronic drive or the manual drive in the manual version. It has the lockout features. It holds the bottle. So the bulk of the development is in this portion, this platform, and that platform can be integrated into custom dispensers. So if we take this platform and we want to develop a custom dispenser, then we simply need to develop the housing, the back plate, the cover, the window, and develop that around the platform. We could also develop a custom bottle if the if the cover is a different size, and that can give you a proprietary platform. And that lets us turn the project around quickly because the platform is fully validated, and we need to do basically the cosmetic parts around it to give you that custom dispenser. And by doing this, we still have access to the full suite of 38 millimeter pumps. They'll fit in both the manual and touchless platforms. And lastly, we have the smart options. So we have an optional smart hardware that integrates into the KX touchless platform. So this gives you access to our OHMS and OWMS software platforms. So this records hand hygiene events. It provides active fill level measurement. So it communicates the actual level of product remaining in the bottle. It provides battery level measurements, so you can get notification of batteries that need to be replaced. It can get over-the-air updates if there's updates to the firmware, and it's currently available in our 500 or 750 mil touchless KX dispenser, and we're soon to release the 1000 or 1250 mil version. Lastly, it changes the functionality of the LED in the dispenser. So it gives feedback to the user when they've dispensed the proper amount of product. So we can define how much product they should get, if it's 1 or 2 dispenses or 3, and then the LED will light up when that's been delivered. So I'll pass it over to Josh, and he can tell you more about the software platforms for the OHMS and OWMS.
Thanks, Ted. Hello, everyone. Glad to be here today to talk about our software platforms. I'll start with just giving you an overview of all of our intelligent solutions, as we like to call them. So you can see here we have this beautiful new diagram to really explain the different groupings of technologies we're using. So at the top, you see our dispenser technologies, specifically the middle piece being the KX, what we're here to talk about. In the middle is our cloud of information where all the dispensers feed their data. And then you can see at the bottom the different software areas where those data points can flow to. So on the left, we have OHMS, which is our medical area. So this is for medical professionals to provide great hand hygiene data to their staff in order to break the chain of infection in hospitals and other medical applications. In the middle, just launched this week, is our OWMS, or the Smart Washroom software suite for public areas, meaning more bathrooms and restrooms. And then on the right, we have our third party. So in the event that one of these software suites does not work for your solution, we can easily integrate with anything we need. Our cloud infrastructure is set up to be rapidly integratable for whatever need you might have for our dispensing data. So go into OHMS and talk a little bit about its functionality with the KX. So one thing the KX Smart can do is tell us, when the dispenser was used, which is the most core piece of information that we need to pull out of the system. Knowing when things happen, we can line that up with other data. Things like in hospitals, we have the concept of patient days. So if we know on a given date that the patient days are at 10, we can know that we should have more dispensing than usual, because the number of patient interactions should increase, and therefore the usage of the dispenser should increase as well. Knowing which dispenser was used is also a very crucial piece of information, so that you can see areas of high use, but also and encourage other uses of other dispensers. So if there's a dispenser that is getting low use, perhaps we need to put in a high vis color or something like that, so you can really draw attention to use that dispenser. And then on the right, we have one of our quality bars. This is incredibly important, as Ted mentioned, about the quality of the actual dispensing activation. When you activate it, you might not get enough to hit a certain quality metric. In some parts of the world, the dispense needs to be at least 3 ml in order for it to be considered a high quality hand hygiene event. An actual case where your hands will become clean, you need 3 ml. And so ensuring that the users are using the device properly and are actively getting the right amount dispensed is critical to hand hygiene. And so we enable that by tracking exactly how much was dispensed per activation to ensure that we're hitting those targets. The next slide we'll be talking about feedback, and that plays nicely into our quality bar. So the important piece about end users using a system is that they know they're using it properly, and they aren't just using it because it's on the wall, but they're actually getting an actual dispensing event that will actually help them save themselves from getting an infection. So when it comes to feedback, we have a whole section of our software dedicated just to informing end users on how much they should be using, and then how much they are using, and coming up with sort of a compliance metric on getting people to hit certain usages depending on activity. So if a hospital is busier, then you should see more activation data, and so we track all that information. We have a small error there. If we could just hit OK or close that. So yeah, we take the signal from the dispenser, and then we have our feedback screen. So you can see in the middle, we have these screens that are available to be put on a ward or at a nursing station or wherever in the hospital makes the most sense. And we're able to show a nice big bright screen of how well they're hitting the metrics that they need to be hitting. So here you can see 68%. It's actually not too bad of a measurement. The screen is meant to be a live reloading, real live view of the system and how it's actually being used, so that if you start seeing the quality start to drop, hand hygiene professionals can see that and really go and dig down into the software and figure out exactly why that drop has happened, and resolve whatever the issue is, whether it's people aren't using it enough, or maybe the dispenser's out of product, or the battery's dead. Something is going wrong to that it's not working properly. Then on the right, we have the feedback software, which is the main OHMS software, which is beautifully designed to get an almost entire data view in one screen, and it really provides great troubleshooting information to those hand hygiene professionals who need to know exactly where their quality is at and how the system's being used, so that they can use it to save lives and break the chain of infection. So that is our medical application with OHMS. Next up, we'll talk about our smart washrooms with our KXs. So as everybody knows, when you go into a restaurant or any business and you use their restroom facilities or washroom facilities, the impression that you get from that experience is lasts on the business itself. So it's a proven phenomenon almost, that if people go into a business and the washroom is dirty, messy, or just otherwise unkept, they will spend less at that business overall. So better user experience means better corporate image, ensures repeat customers, and ensures that the sort of the public image of that you're putting out is positive. Also, we can increase cleaning staff productivity. Instead of going to bottles and checking them to see if they're full or empty in certain cases with certain devices like a waste bin, we can tell them and alert them when they're getting close to either empty or full, and then dispatch a task for that person to go and resolve that issue. Increasing productivity there just by less time checking the devices and more time actually maintaining them. Decrease consumable waste. When in the sort of standard Jan-San model, they go into a washroom and they check the devices, and then if they're low, well, you replace the cartridge. In this case, we can tell them exactly when they need to replace that cartridge, and so we can minimize the amount of filling goods left in those cartridges that are sort of being swapped out. And last but not least, while compliance isn't the main focus of most public areas, it is becoming more and more important under the realm of COVID-19. It's important that you provide hand sanitizer in lobbies and entryways. I know, for example, I get frustrated when I go into a business such as a grocery store or something, and they've got hand sanitizer and it's empty. It's you as a consumer, sometimes you can assume that the dispenser that's there is going to have product in it, and it's disappointing when it doesn't. So ensuring that the front of line dispensers that you have are always full really, again, encourages that customer satisfaction. Okay, so how does this whole system work? So there's really two main pieces to OWMS. There's the main portal, which you can see on what looks like an IMAX screen, as well as our mobile app, which you can see on the phone there. Our mobile app comes on Android and iOS, and is meant for sort of the end users of the system, being the actual staff in the rooms doing the replacements in the KXs, and then the portal being for administrators to set up workflows and automate the task management and things like that I'll get into in just a second. So here we have what's called our sensor view. It's not the most beautiful view to throw into a presentation, but it's critical, so that's why we have it here. On the right, you can see our sensor threshold, little circles with our colors, so you can very quickly see what's full and what's empty, and maybe things that are in the middle. So you can see on the right there, we have a full dispenser right at the top. The sensor data next to it says it's at 65% full, which isn't bad. It means it's perfectly operational. People are using it, but we don't need to send somebody to clean that yet, replace that yet. And then right below it, we have one that's at 20%. Again, that one's been hit to or set to yellow just because it's getting close to that time where maybe a cartridge replacement is necessary. And then last but not least, we have an empty dispenser. I think that actually says 1% full. The alert for that the task for that would go out right away. At whatever level. So the important thing about this piece is that all these full, medium, and empty are all configurable to whatever you need for your replacements. So if it takes maybe a couple hours to dispatch somebody to go and replace a cartridge somewhere or in a given area, then you can alert at a higher percentage, or if they're right next door and can do it quickly, you can set that to a lower percentage, and really just fit your own workflows into the system in order to match your existing workflows and make the most productive use of our system. One of the most important pieces of our software is the plugins. So like I say, these levels are customizable. You can also customize a lot of the automation, almost the entire automated system within OWMS. So you can say, send any kind of task to any number of different users, and you can group everything with great granularity so that you aren't accidentally sending tasks to people who, it's unfeasible for them to get in and replace that cartridge. For example, if you have 2 buildings in a city and you have certain staff that work in one and not the other, you can ensure just the right staff get those tasks assigned to them. And another piece that we just recently added in the previous few weeks is the ability to automatically close tasks. So when a device becomes empty, we create a task saying, hey, please go and fill that up. And then when it's full, we know that we have that information. It's flowed into the system that the filling level is now at a higher percentage, and we can then automatically close that task because we know it's been done. However, that's not always going to be the case. And so you can see on this screen our mobile app, and one of the coolest features that I personally enjoy about the OWMS app is the swiping functionality. So you can see, very simple example. We have a task here. It says webinar 03 is the name of the device. And then we have refill TRU, which just means it's a toilet paper dispenser and needs to be refilled. So on the far left there, we have the ability to swipe and have a big red X, or in the middle, we can swipe and show a green check mark. Ideally, this is saying, with the green check mark that it's been done and all is well. And on the left, you can say, oh, this isn't done. Whether that's because the dispenser bottle is missing, or any other number of scenarios that can happen where you aren't actually able to complete that task. Now, the reason I like this feature is this is completely customizable based on your needs. So if you have the circumstance where, oh, you can't replace this because you've run out of soap or you've run out of sanitizer or something like that, you can have different settings. So you can say, when I swipe left on a task, here are my options for setting the status. And it's a really quick and easy way of enabling this manual task status update. We have the automated way of closing the task when it's filled, but in the event you can't, you have these options of giving your users the ability to set statuses just with a swipe of a finger in the app, eliminating the overhead they need to update you on the status of that task, which I think is a really great, awesome feature. I think that's all I'm covering today. So back over to Adam to
that's fantastic. Thanks very much for that, Josh. That was great. So yeah, just for a quick little summary, and before I get into the summary here, if anybody has any further questions, there's a little option that you should have through the webinar to just type a question. So feel free at any time. We got a few we'll get to in just a moment. So, but yeah, in summary for KX, we love the fact that it's a very compact. It's designed to fit almost any environment. The aesthetic of it is very lends itself very well to just about any kind of environment. It's going to look good and fit right in on the wall. Hygienic obviously is a very significant component to every part of this dispenser, something that we obviously look into with a great deal of attention. And then the versatility in terms of the customization, the sizing, the pump selections, the point of care solutions. There's all sorts of different ways that you can really make this dispenser your own and have it seamlessly integrate into whatever sort of environment you might need it for. The branding is, a very important component as well, where we're able to work with internal design teams or your design team, whatever the case may be. We can work together and provide support to ensure that your dispensers have a really outstanding aesthetic to them as well. And then the smart capabilities, obviously, as Josh just kind of spoke to, moving forward, I think there's going to be a real big push to make sure that places are as hygienic as possible. There's certainly valid reason for concern around hygiene in this kind of current and that we move out of the COVID world. So it's always good to be using the most up-to-date technologies to ensure that hygiene is where it needs to be. So, and all in all, it's a state-of-the-art dispenser that is built to your brand. So that being said, let's get to some of the questions here. We have one from for Josh. So, Josh, what is the connectivity tech used? Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, IoT, LPWAN? If you could maybe just talk a little bit to the connectivity and the tech there, Josh.
Absolutely. Right now, it is pretty standard Wi-Fi connection is the only available connection method from the dispenser. They connect right through the internet. We have the option of putting a message collector on your network if that's of a convenient nature to your already existing infrastructure. But if that's not the case, we can also have it point at straight to the cloud. So as long as there's Wi-Fi and an internet connection available to these dispensers, they should work seamlessly. We will be coming out with other technologies as we develop them out, but this is the first one available, and we're really confident that this should fit a good portion of the use cases.
Fantastic. Okay, great. Next question up we have here maybe is a little bit on the same kind of same note there, but maybe Josh or Ted, if you could maybe speak to the security features of the online or the connectivity with the devices.
Absolutely. I'll jump on that before I let Ted loose on it. Our dispensers encrypt all of the data from end to end, or at least everything in transfer as it goes. We use the latest and greatest TLS encryption, whatever is available, and it's not encrypted end to end, but it is encrypted in transfer at all times. So until it hits our IoT core, it is encrypted, and then when it's saved there, it's all located in Germany, very well protected and private. We have very strong and granular access controls in both the OHMS and OWMS systems. So not only is your data encrypted and private, but you can ensure that your users can only see the data that you want them to. So adding an even extra layer of privacy and security there.
Fantastic. Okay, great. Thanks, Josh. And then the next question is kind of just about an ordering process. So I guess either the person who sent you the invitation, or you could always send an email to solutions@ophart.com to get the process started on ordering a batch of KX dispensers. So I'll open it up. If there's anything else, any other questions that people have, that basically covers the questions that we had. And I don't see anything else coming through. So I guess that will be it for right now. So I just like to conclude by thanking Fred, Ted, and Josh for presenting their respective sections, and thank everybody for attending. We hope that you got a lot out of the information provided in the webinar. And of course, if there are any questions afterwards, feel free to reach out to either the sales rep who sent you the invitation, or again, solutions@ophart.com for any questions you might have after the fact. So that being said, thank you very much, everybody, for participating today. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day. And hopefully we can get everybody outfitted with their KX dispensers in the near future. Thanks very much, everybody. Have a great day.